My husband is dead and I cannot afford to bury him, says many wives. Hey, cousins, happy Saturday. I just wanted to do a really quick video on so many wives in the wife groups, just over social media, is saying how their husband dies and they can't afford to bury them. I think that is so sad. And I just want to encourage every last one of us. Like, that is the one thing we know we're all going to have to do. One day, every last one of us is going to die. Except if the Lord Jesus Christ comes back and he raptures us. Then we don't have to worry about that. But the one appointment every last one of us have is we're going to transition. And so we need to be prepared to transition. We need to have a plan. What is your plan for if your husband dies, especially ladies whose husbands are sole provider, they pay all of the bills, especially you wives? What are you going to do? What is the plan? What's the plan? You need to know. You need to write it down. So that's what I want to talk quickly about this morning. I'm just sitting here going over some edits. Then I'm gonna take my kids skating. But I wanted to do this video all week, and I just had time this morning to do it. Be sure to subscribe, thumbs up. Thank you for your love and support. I absolutely love you. I adore you. Thank you so much for all that you do for me. So really quick again, so many wives are saying their husbands die. Over the years, I've seen it crying. Can't bear their dead. I remember a few years ago, this woman, she had over 300,000 subscribers on YouTube. She had like 5 kids. Husband was the sole provider. He died of a heart attack, stress. And she's on YouTube crying that she can't bury him. And I'm like, okay, your husband works. You have over 300,000 subscribers. Channel was doing very well. So that means you have money coming in. What are you doing with all of that money? But for everyday regular people, do you not plan? Do you not think that one day you're going to die and you need to bury your loved ones? Do you not have life insurance? If you don't have life insurance, do you not have money to bury your dead? Like, I'm so confused about what goes through people's mind about, well, they're saying 70-80% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck, right? So let's just say 80% because of the pandemic and because of inflation. Let's say 80. That means 80 families out of 100 families. If you have 100 families, 80 of them live paycheck to paycheck. They cannot miss a paycheck. That means if they miss one paycheck, they can't pay their rent, mortgage, so on and so forth. So I want to encourage you to have a plan. Get you some life insurance. I love Dave Ramsey. I follow Dave Ramsey. Dave Ramsey says get term life, because the whole idea of term, let's say you get a 30-year term, for example, me and Big Mike, we both have 30-year term on each of us. And so the idea is in 30 years, you should be able to have enough money for generational wealth, transference to your children, pay for college, save for retirement, and save money for if you die, you have money. That's the whole idea of term. I'm not telling you what to get. You need to go talk to your financial advisor or a life insurance specialist. But I'm just telling you what Dave Ramsey said. So if you get a 30-year term, so when me and Mike got married, I already had insurance for me and Lexi because if anything happened to Lexi, I want to make sure she was taken care of. Mike already had his own individual insurance. If he died, he wanted to make sure his mother and his father was taken care of. And so when we got married, he got a 30-year, I have a 30-year. And so within the 30-year, it's expected for us to build wealth, get generational wealth. Of course, we got married later in life. So we both had we both had a few coins. We've been married 12 years, almost 12 years. So we have some time left before our life insurance policy is up. So the plan from me and my husband is if my husband dies, which we know eventually we are going to go on. Of course, you have the haters in the comments that's going to be rejoicing because they're going to think my husband dies because God is punishing me. That's why my husband died, as if everybody don't die, right? God forbid. I pray every day, long life, blessed life, happy life, satisfied life. We got married late. We had our little boy late. We want to see him grow up and go through college and start his family and have children. That is my prayer, that we're going to see little Michael grow up and get married and live his life, and we're going to see his children. That's our prayer, and we confess that every day. But in the event, God forbid, my husband passes on. My husband is the sole provider. He pays all of our bills. I've been married almost 12 years. I have never paid a bill. I've never paid a rent. He's never asked me for rent, mortgage, PSC&G, light, water, whatever. I always say the only thing I pay is our health insurance because my health insurance is a quarter of what his insurance would be. So my health insurance is a better insurance policy. My husband worked in New York. I work in New Jersey. We live in New Jersey. Our insurance is in New Jersey. But God forbid my husband decides is to transition. The Lord calls him home. I have a plan of exactly what I'm going to do. We've talked about it. We've written everything out. I know who to call. I know where to bury him. I know not to put all the money in the ground burying him. I know bury my husband. I know pay off the house. Put some money in away for little Michael's college fund. Of course, we already have a college fund, but I'm just talking about insurance policy and live on the rest. Bury me. Put some money in Michael's college fund. Put some money in Michael's trust fund. Put a portion of money in Michael's trust fund. Put a portion money in Alexia's trust fund. Put some money in my trust fund for me, and put money in little Michael's college fund, and live on the rest. That's the plan. And pay off the house. I'm not going to be on YouTube crying and begging y'all to send me some money to bury my husband. Nobody has to give me any money. I don't need to call his sister or his brother or his best friend for some money to bury my husband. We have the money to bury him because we all going to die. Same thing happens to me. God forbid anything happened to me and I move on, which God forbid, pray long life, blessed life, happy life. Same thing. My husband knows where to bury me. My husband knows to put money in Michael's trust fund, little Michael trust fund, put money in Alexia's trust fund, and the insurance policy that I had before I got married. That's going to be divided between 3. Pay off the house. Put money in little Michael's college fund. He will not be calling his friends his frat brothers. My wife has passed. I can't afford to bury. He won't be doing that. Same thing with our children. When we got little Michael's college fund, Social Security, two things we did. One, we added him to my husband's insurance policy as a rider. And you need just this, the insurance rep says you just need enough to bury him. Number one. Number two, I have Alexia. I have insurance for Lexi. If anything, Lexi transition, I can bury her. I will not be asking y'all for GoFundMe to bury my child. I can bury her and put her away nicely. And y'all know Lexi love pink. Lexi funeral is probably gonna cost more than the rest of us because she gonna want a pink coffin, pink this, pink that. Okay. So we have enough to bury our children. So you need a plan. Life insurance is not expensive, especially for those of you near 40. AAA, they send us a policy every month. I'm not telling you this is what you need to get. I'm just saying you need to get life insurance, but I'm not telling you where to get it. You can't say I can't afford life insurance. That's not something you can afford to say or afford not to get. You need it. Because at least even if it's $10,000, at least somebody go on, you're going to be burying your loved one, and you don't have to be embarrassed. You don't have to be on social media begging and crying and talking about you can't bury your dead. Now, I'm going to be up here crying. God forbid, Mike transition. Girl, I'm going to be crying, and y'all probably not going to see me for a whole year because I love my husband. My husband has taken care of us and provided for us. But guess what? Even in death, we're not going to miss a beat. The only thing we're going to miss is Big Mike being here. But as far as our lifestyle, as far as how we live, as far as our money, as far as finances, we're not going to miss a beat. So for those of you waiting for my husband to die so me and my kids could suffer, don't hold your breath. It's never going to happen. As a matter of fact, well, let me not say that. I ain't going to say that. But don't hold your breath, dear. Yes, I'm going to cry. I'm going to miss him. I'm going to miss his presence in this house and talking to him and Lexi and Michael and just getting up in the middle of, we was up about 3:00 this morning talking about the hurricane, talking politics. I'm going to miss that. But as far as our lifestyle, our finances, the way we live, the money we have, we're not going to miss a beat. Why? Because we've planned for it. So what I want to encourage all of you, I don't care if you're single, unless you have 10,000 put away in a savings account that says this is to bury me, everybody, you need a plan. It is heartbreaking and sad when I see wives crying on social media in the wife group, my husband is dead. Can y'all help me to bury them? No, that shouldn't be. That's bringing a shame to your name, your husband's name, your family. That's shameful. But if that's what you have to do, remember back in the days they used to fry chicken to bury. Do you know how many people my father buried because they didn't have no money and we had to bury them? Pastor Bradshaw has buried more people than they bury themselves. Because, a lot of people come to the church and they might die 2 or 3 years later. I remember one family came in, the father died, pastor had to bury them. A few years later, the sister died, pastor had to bury them. Years later, the mama died. So Pastor Bradshaw has had to bury 3 people in that family in the span of, let's say, 10 years. And that's a generation that was on public assistance for generation the mama, the daughter, the granddaughter, it was like that family was cursed with poverty, that they just could not get out from under poverty. And it's just this year, one of the granddaughters that me and her, we had a baby around the same time. This year, she finally made something of herself. So back in the days, we had to sell church fish dinners and chicken dinners and collect money to bury the dead. These days, they do Cash App. Not Cash App, GoFundMe. You should not have to do GoFundMe to bury your dead. I'm sorry. But if that's what you have to do, that's what you have to do. I have given to GoFundMe to bury people. So if you're listening and you have not come up with a plan, you must have a plan. And I don't want to hear you can't afford it. You cannot tell me you can't afford it when you live luxurious life. You drive around in Benz and Beamer. You have $10,000 purse, $5,000 shoes. You get your weave. I know somebody who spent $300 on weave a month. $300 on weave a month and borrow money to buy lunch every week, or is asking people, can you buy me lunch? Can I have some of your lunch? But every month she would go to New York. This was back in the days now. So that 300 weave is probably 6,000 weave today. But every month she would get on the train and go to New York and get her weave done for $300. And then she lived with her mom, and the rent was $250 a month. And her mother had to come downstairs every month to get her $250. Now, mind you, remember, I told you we was in our 20s making $50,000 a year. This was back in the early 2000. In the early 2000, fresh out of college, in our mid to upper 20s, making $50,000 a year. But this girl would spend every penny she has. So you must come up with a plan. If you don't have life insurance, if you don't have $10,000 put aside to bury you, get you some life insurance. But this also goes back to having emergency funds, saving for a rainy day, making sure for those of you who are married that you have emergency money. So if there's something happened with your husband, or there's sickness or anything that you don't bring, that doesn't affect your marriage. The reason why you want to have an emergency fund is if something happened to your husband's employment, or something happened to you, or 80% of people cannot miss one payday. That's okay. Something happened, that's okay. Go in the savings account, set up a monthly transfer for your monthly bills. You never miss a beat, and you do not allow drama, stress, worry, fighting, and resentment in your marriage. Why? You have a plan. The same way we have a plan of salvation is the same way we need to have a plan for our life. Don't wait for your loved one to die and then you're like, oh my God, what am I going to do? You need a plan. And that plan includes having money to bury your dead. I absolutely love you, Ayador. Thank you so much for your love. One of my books that's coming very soon is Freedom Money. I'm working on Freedom Money. Next month is NaNoWriMo. I'm going to invest my time in trying to finish Freedom Money. I love you. Thank you for showing me love and support on all of my other books on Amazon. Thank you for those of you leaving me glowing 5-star reviews. I love you. Talk to you later. Bye.